What's going on, people in YouTube land? Kimchi Chris here, and welcome to today's brand new video. Today's video, by the way, is part of Kissmas Week 2018. If you did not know, basically I'm putting out a brand new Kiss video every day this week if you're watching it as these come out, so you definitely want to stick around and see the rest of them. Or if you're watching it after the fact, go watch them all. Go binge watch them all. Don't take a bath, just check it out. Check them all out. Go watch them all. But first, stick around for this one because you know why you're here. You're here to hear about some awesome Kiss podcasts. That's right, I know there's 100,000 Kiss podcasts out there, but we can't talk about all of them today, and what would the point of that be? I'm not going to sit here and list all of them, and just because a podcast isn't listed on this list, let's see how many more times I can say list in the next couple of minutes, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it didn't make the list this time. I picked 5, that's right, I cherry-picked 5 Kiss podcasts here that I really enjoy, ones that maybe I don't listen to it every week myself even because that's a lot of time, but I try to listen to these as often as possible because these guys make quality entertainment, quality products, and it's really funny because I said these guys, and it is a fairly male-dominated, area out there. So if you're a female and you want to make a Kiss podcast, get on it right now. But even with that aside, let's get into this list of 5 Kiss podcasts that I think you should check out. And even though this is in no particular order, like a countdown or anything, they're still going to be numbered. So number 1, we got Podkiss. That's right, we had to have something from the mighty Ken Mills on here, the Podfather himself. And Podkiss is going to sound like a lot of these other ones for the simple fact that it's a Kiss podcast where they talk about Kiss topics. But the thing that's really cool is that Ken in particular just has a very cool demeanor about him. He comes off as your friend even if you've never met him, and then eventually if you do meet him in person, he welcomes you as a friend. I learned that. And it's just a really cool podcast because they concentrate on a lot of the more positive aspects out there. I mean, there's a lot of Kiss podcasts that, you know, they talk about the negatives, they talk about the positives, they talk about this, they talk about that. And there's nothing wrong with criticizing the band. I mean, it's your favorite band, you know a lot about them, you are the person that can do that if you're in one of these situations. But the thing that's really nice about Podkiss is that it is so overtly positive for the most part. And of course, they interview guests and tell stories and talk about collectibles and every fun, exciting thing that you can hear on every Kiss podcast. So you might say what separates them, but I've already kind of said that. It's the fact that it's just done so well. The positivity is there. I mean, it's just a really cool thing. It's kind of like you're just, hanging out with some friends, except not putting your own thoughts into the conversation, I suppose. You're not really interjecting your own thoughts because they're not there. You're just that weird, awkward guy in the corner that's like, yeah, man, Kiss is pretty cool. I'm really into them. That's what you are when you're listening to Podkiss. And of course, after number 1, we would have a number 2, and that would be Podcast Rock City. Joe and all of his little cronies put on a really good show every week, which is cool already. They put out a podcast every week, but they also do a live show every week, and that's a little bit more unique in this spectrum because a lot of these are, podcasts. We just said it, but they put out 2 products that are similar, but, different enough that it really, I feel, keeps their audience engaged and keeps them active with all of the Kiss happenings and all the stuff those guys are getting into, and it's a really cool, interesting show. And I know this description sounds just like Podkiss, but it just feels like you're hanging out with these guys and, you're just talking Kiss at a bar, and that's exactly what you want out of a podcast. You want it to be casual, you want it to be fun, and you want to keep up with Kiss events while talking about some of the cool vintage stuff. So if you haven't checked out Podcast Rock City, I implore you to go do it, and definitely join their Facebook group because they're always putting cool videos and photos and updates and happenings and adventures and going places and doing things, and it's awesome. But that's enough about those losers. Time for number 3, the Kiss FAQ podcast. Now this one is primarily ran by Jillian Gill, the same guy does the Kiss FAQ message board, as well as he is the author of like 6,000 Kiss books about every little detail, about every little thing you would ever want to know about Kiss, and he of course has other people on the show. And this one is a little bit different than the first 2 that we've talked about here. Basically, Senor Gill and all of his friends give you updates about all their Kiss happenings just like all these others, but I feel the tone on this one can sometimes be a little bit more serious, and a lot of the facts are a lot more detailed because, again, you got Jillian there. He knows everything about everything, and that's what's really cool about this one is it's got a different feel. It's a little more structured, I guess, and it's been going for a long time. They're past 200 episodes. It's a really long time to do a podcast. It's a lot of time to dedicate to something like this, and it's just a really interesting, a really educational Kiss listen, and I would definitely check it out if you've never checked it out. Plus, it's like getting to smell the cesspool without actually getting too involved, so that's bonus points right there if you ask me. And next up is number 4 on the list, and it's the first one that's not completely Kiss all the time, but it's close enough. We're just gonna call it a Kiss podcast. It's a Kiss-related podcast. We're talking about the Decibel Geek podcast. That's right, the one that I'm probably the most biased about since it is based out of Nashville as well, and one of the hosts shares a really cool name with me in the name of Chris, but this is a great podcast listen regardless of if you know the guys or not. So while it's not all Kiss all the time, it is all rock and roll all the time, and these guys do interviews, they play new music, they give news, they give their own experiences, they update you about all things rock and roll, and there's a huge emphasis on Kiss. It's rare that an episode goes by that something Kiss related isn't brought up. And you might remember these are the guys that did all the chronicles of Vinnie Vincent for all the years before he came back, and you know, then there was the whole blowout because their awesome event, the Rock and Pod Expo, kind of ties all of this together. They host that every year. So these guys are really trying to do some things in the podcast world. I mean, having a huge event like that every year that has just gotten bigger and bigger every year, and I'm sure the next year, 2019, will be even bigger. I mean, these guys are doing all of the right things for all of the right reasons. Plus, these guys have an encyclopedia-like knowledge of 80s rock and hair metal, so if you want a podcast that isn't always Kiss, but almost always has something Kiss-related, this is one to check out for sure. And last up on the list, number 5, is my arguably favorite Kiss podcast. Sorry guys, this is no put down. Like I said, this isn't really a countdown, but it is what it is, and that would be the Pod of Thunder. So these guys did something completely different and just proved how stupid and ridiculous Kiss fans can be and how entertaining they can be when they're ripping at their favorite band. So basically, these guys have taken every Kiss song and put it in the random song generator, and it plops out a new song every week, and they overanalyze that song for the week. And by overanalyzing, I mean they'll play like 2 seconds of the song and then pause it because Gene said something ridiculous or a drum fill was extra funny to them. And if you've never checked this show out, definitely check out the episodes that are the more obscure songs, because those are the more entertaining ones. The hits are fun, but you can only listen to somebody say, oh yeah, Deuce is good so much, but when you listen to one of the more obscure songs like Read My Body in particular, that's a really good one. That's a classic one on the show. Those are the ones to check out. Those are the highly recommended ones. And honestly, this works so well because these guys are so ridiculous and are so funny, and they're not trying to suck up to anybody, and they're, you know, just overall a joy to listen to. And I know that the Kiss songs are wrapping up, but I have a feeling they might do some more wild card episodes, as they call them, or maybe even pick up another band. Who knows? But go check the show out. It's out there. You can see it, or well, I guess listen to it. I guess you could watch it as well. Just put your own visuals to it, but that's not the point here. Go check out Pod of Thunder. It's awesome. So there you have it. 5 Kiss podcasts that I think you should check out. Did I hit the mark pretty well? Let me know in the comments below. I know there's some I left out, and there's no reason I can't do a part 2 to this at some point because there's so many Kiss podcasts out there. And when you're done with this video, go listen to a couple of them. These guys all work really hard, and they deserve your hard-earned time and money, I guess. I don't know how much money they make off of them, but some of them sell merch, so go buy the merch from them. Regardless, like I said, leave me some comments below. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the alarm so you get the updates. Watch some more of these Kissmas 2018 videos. My name's Kimchi Chris, and I will see you guys on the next video.